All right. Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast. I almost said Conspiracy Corner Podcast. Um, it is September 28th, 2025. Um, just woke up from a nap. I'm off today. Um, so while I was off, I've been playing Harry Potter Order of Phoenix for Game Boy Advanced. I know that I have been playing them in order, but I ordered Goblet of Fire and Order of Phoenix, both at the same time, and Order of Phoenix came in earlier, so I just started playing it and played through it, and I have not played Goblet of Fire yet, so look forward to that if you've been watching these Harry Potter game reviews. Kind of makes me a little bit sad because Goblet of Fire will be the last one for Game Boy Advanced. After that, I have a copy of Ghost Rider for Game Boy Advance, so I'm going to be playing through it and do a review on it. First off, I lied. I lied to you all. I said that last review of the Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban, I said that Prisoner of Azkaban is the last RPG Harry Potter for the Game Boy Advance. Because the first two Harry Potter games are RPGs unless you get the Game Boy Advance versions, which I prefer the RPG. So it was, both of them are the Game Boy Color version. This one is actually an RPG. So figured I'd tell you that. It is a turn-based. It technically is the last turn-based Harry Potter, for Game Boy Advanced. So first off, if you guys are interested in any of the Harry Potter game reviews, go check out, the playlist I created. I also have a Harry Potter book review episode that I put together. Yeah, go check that out. I'm a Harry Potter nerd. I like Harry Potter. Also, so it is. Let's just get in with the game review. Oh, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below if you want to donate some money to the channel. That's cool. There's a T-shirt. Well, you can't see it, the light. So it is an RPG, but it's a weird RPG. So there's no longer like HP boost. Your character will gradually get stronger as the game goes on. There is grinding, but it's weird. So there's no like stats basically. The only thing that levels up is your spells, and then your HP will just level up as the game progresses. But you got like 3 different levels of spells. So there is random encounters once in a while, like you battle Malfoy and his crew, Crabbe and Goyle, several times. So there's no more like random encounters. It's like it's tied in with the story, you know. You'll run across Malfoy and fight him and Crabbe and Goyle. I would say probably like maybe like 10 different times throughout the game. So one of the ways that you level up your spells is they have the Room of Requirement. If you remember in the storyline, you find this room. It's called the Room of Requirement. So like you find the room, but the room finds you. It's kind of weird. It's an enchanted room of like when you need the room, you'll be able to find it. So you and all the other students need a place to train to fight Voldemort. So you go to the Room of Requirement, and there's like a dummy set up in the middle of the room, and that's where you practice your spells. Where this differs from the other Harry Potter RPGs is this game reminds me there's point and click elements for one. Um, but even the battles are like remind me of DDR. Like you have to hit like it scrolls by. You have to hit like up, down, left, BA. You know, a bunch of time. Like yeah. So if you're not into like that Guitar Hero, DDR style game, you're not gonna like this. But it's kind of point and click too. So like you can pull out your wand at any point that you're walking around, and there's flying books you have to collect. There's chocolate frogs you have to collect. I believe a snitch at one point. So yeah, and like you'll point and click at the flying book, and the DDR style text will roll by, or there's all sorts of like this is basically a collection of tons of different mini games. Like for each class, it's a different mini game. When you go to divination class, you have to like there's two pictures, and there's like a wavy picture, like waving in and out of a crystal ball, and you have to choose the picture that matches it. Herbology class, you have to like there's like 4 or 5 pots, and one will light up, and you have to like move over to it and hit A really quick, and it'll make the plant grow. Astrology class, you have to connect all the stars and make constellations. Yeah, just a bunch of point and click mini games, several different DDR Guitar Hero style games. So yeah. So this game made me like reminiscent of Final Fantasy VIII for some reason. I have to say, for Game Boy Advance, the graphics on this game are like super impressive. I would say I mean, they're not. You're not gonna like, be amazed by it. But for Game Boy Advance, they're super impressive. I would say they're about PlayStation 1 level. PlayStation 1 equivalent of how good the graphics are. So it's like fixed cameras, which does kind of become a slight little problem. Like it's a little difficult to figure out certain entrances and exits. And then when you do go to it, sometimes you'll pop up in the exact same room again. So you have to kind of be careful on how you're walking around and stuff. And your party does follow you. It's Ron and Hermione again. It's actually, spoiler alert, it's kind of cool. Like the last battle, you have to fight several Death Eaters. You have to fight Voldemort. You have to fight Draco Malfoy's dad. I forget his dad's name, but Malfoy. And yeah, hang on just a second. So that's like one of the few times that you do actually like switch party members. You play as Sirius Black, then you play as Harry, and Sirius Black, then you play as Dumbledore. It's kind of neat. But yeah, it's like a fixed angle. Kind of reminds me of like Resident Evil style walking around. There's not really that many locations in the game. So you first start off in the Muggle world at a child's playground, like the movie. This one is finally, I feel, like the most licensed. So I talked about this on the previous Harry Potters, that they seemed licensed on certain things. Like some of the characters looked like certain actors, but at the same time, like the scenery was different. The music was not the same as like the movies. So this one I feel like was fully licensed by WB, because the school looks exactly like the school in the movies. It is a real castle. I'll have to look it up if we have time at the end, and we'll look it up and do a little research as like a little bonus if we have time. Because I don't know the name of the castle, but it is a real castle. So all the characters look exactly like the actors and actresses. I guess you would call them cutscenes. They're not really. They're just kind of still frames. Are depictions from the movie. They're not like scenes of the movie. They're not images from the movie, but they're like depictions of it, and they look like the actors and actresses. Um, like I said, the scenery is all the exact same. The music. So, the last Harry Potter review I did on Prisoner of Azkaban, I kind of complained that the music was so quiet. The music on this is like, I don't know, because I bought it online. It's used. It's a used cartridge. It's not like I opened it up brand spanking new. Um, so I don't know if I just got a bad cartridge. Let me know in the comments if you guys have played this game and if it was just super quiet. It does have the main Harry Potter theme, so I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that, you know. But here, I'll show you an example. I have it right here. I'll show you how quiet this is, man. Let me start it up. And this is on full blast. And I also... You can't even hear it, dude. And the whole game is like that. So I don't know if I just got a bad cartridge. But, I mean, it still plays perfectly fine. I've had a couple of glitches in the game, but I think it was just the game being glitchy. You can't even hear it, dude. You could barely hear it. But, all the music seemed like it was all licensed music. So, like, at the title screen, you get the theme song. The classic theme song we all know and love. But besides the music being super quiet, when I could hear it, it was decent, like, good music. So on this one, they didn't take it out, the wizarding cards. I'll have to go through and actually look. But I'm pretty sure that the wizarding cards are like images of the movie. And you can actually play it in this game, of like playing the game. Like, it's just, all it is a matching game. So that was kind of neat. Because like I said, the whole game is essentially like a collection of mini games. And where that is the entire game, like on the previous Harry Potters, they had mini games, but you would you had the option to go to the menu and play the mini games after you completed them. There was mini games, but it wasn't the entire game. You know, the whole game was focused on the RPG battles or fetch quest. This one is essentially like you have the random battles every now and then, which are few and far between. It's mostly just a point and click. How dexterous, I guess, is that a word? How good is your dexterity? Is basically how fast are you? Can you hit the buttons at the right time? So, like I said, it could be frustrating at some times. There was like, I guess really the only time I got frustrated was, for one, getting lost every now and then. So sometimes they would have a above arrow that would tell you where to go, and it would pop up here and there, usually when I needed it. But there was a couple missions where that wouldn't pop up anymore, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know if they just like were running out of time while they were making it, and just was like, don't worry about the arrows, you know, we ain't got time, we got to get this game out there, you know. Because there was a lot of people in the comments sections that were like trashing on the game, and I don't blame them, because it's weird compared to the rest of the series. Because like the first three are RPGs, and then an action adventure is Goblet of Fire, which I'll be playing next, and then this like weird point and click with random kinda RPG turn-based battles with like kinda but kinda not. Like I said, like there's no items, there's no stats, there's just your health and the levels of spells, you know. There's no cure spell, there's only like a shield spell. Yeah, it's weird. So I found myself getting lost a couple times. And actually I had to look up the video at one point. It was only one mission. It was like, by the way, the missions on this game if you like canon and you don't like when they add stuff, which I don't mind because I understand that this is a video game of a movie from a book. So it's an adaptation of an adaptation. So I understand that, you know. And to me, like it's different than a book or a movie because like you kind of have to add extra side stuff that's not canon to the story. Um, but yeah, I did find myself. It was like some mission where I had to um, open up these boxes that were like enchanted boxes that Fred and George put around the school to like cause swampland in the school to get back at Umbridge, who is the villain in this, along with Malfoy and so yeah, I mean most of the missions are like side missions that were never in the movie or the book. Um, but I think they kind of had to like pad it out, you know, because I don't remember too much. It's been years since I read the book and it's been a while since I watched the movie. I don't really remember there being too much going on in the story. I mean, it obviously had a story, but I don't know, maybe it was just mostly dialogue and like I said, there's not very many places that you adventure, which doesn't bother me. Because that's kind of how some of the other Harry Potter games were. I mean, it's all essentially takes place at the school mostly. So you do start off the game in the Muggle world, and then you fight Death Eaters, and you end up going to your Godfather's house, Sirius Black's house, where the Order of the Phoenix meets up. And then you go to school, which is a huge map, by the way. The school, I do have to say that the map was impressive and the scenery was impressive. And it felt just like the movie. And then you end up going to the Ministry for Magic, and that's where the finale of the game takes place. You end up fighting Voldemort. Dumbledore and Sirius come in, and you play as them. You have to fight Draco Malfoy. You have to fight some Death Eaters and one of Voldemort's. It's the female witch, the one who's played by, what is her name, Helena Bonham Carter or whatever. So that was interesting. I mean, I guess with like the card collecting though, I was a little disappointed because I actually did enjoy collecting all the cards. And you do collect the cards. It's just different. It's like scenes from the movie, like still frames and stuff. So I mean that's kind of cool, and you can go back when you beat the game. It asks you if you want to replay certain missions, so you can like the replay value is high. If you missed some of the cards or items, you can go back and recollect them. So I still do kind of think they missed out on the whole concept of like using the link cables to trade cards. Yeah, just trading cards or collecting cards and stuff. The D-pad was kind of tricky on this one. So, because it's not top down like the other Harry Potters and it's like fixed angles and stuff, like you would have to hit like down left, down left, down left, like run zigzag a lot. So that was kind of annoying and it makes it look honestly kind of tacky when you're running around. Makes it kind of hard to get into entrances just right, so that way you go to the next screen instead of popping up in the same screen. So it's a little janky. So one thing that I noticed that people in the comments section were saying was the game was like rushed. They felt, and it possibly could be rushed. I don't know. I'll have to maybe look it up and like kind of see if that's one thing during development, if they were running out of time, if they wanted the game out maybe like as the movie came out or something, you know, it could be that, like, because I'm not sure if the game came out after the movie or the same time, because they had that issue with the first Harry Potter game. I'm not sure about the second one, but I know the first one they did have that issue because the book was out. The movie was either being made at the same time or proposed. I think it was being made at the same time. So all they had was the source material of the book. So it was cool because it was more like the book and less like the movie, but it was weird. It was like Harry Potter, but it was just weird. It felt weird. The scenery was weird. Some of the parts of the game were weird because it was like all they had was the source material, the book, and not so much like the movie. So they couldn't really base it off the movie too well. But where I do believe that they might have rushed this, is like for the most part, you run around the school exploring the school most of the game, except for those very few places and times that you leave the school. And they would start you out in the Gryffindor common room before every mission, and you would have to find the locations of where you're supposed to go and all that. But then, like halfway through the game, it would start sometimes just teleporting you to the spot you need to go. Um, Now, it's either that they were rushing the game to get it out, or maybe I have an idea, a theory too, because the graphics are so impressive for Game Boy Advance. Maybe they were running out of like actual space on the cart, so they're like, to fix it, they're like, okay, we can't have you exploring the whole map like we usually do. Some of these missions we're gonna have to cut them down, so we're just gonna teleport you to like certain spots, progress you by teleportation. Okay, so I looked it up. This is someone else. The game was rushed, this guy believes. This is Harry Potter Magical World is no longer a place I wish I could visit. They gave this a 4, I'm guessing 4 out of 10. After playing this game, I could only come to one conclusion. The developers rushed this game out so people could buy it after watching the movie. So, kind of what my theory was, is it was rushed. And they wanted to get it out. So you watch the movie and then, I want the game, kids. You know how kids are. After playing this game, you realize that they made a very poor decision. The start of the game, you watch some horrible cutscenes. Seriously, who wants to see picture and read text anymore? That doesn't really bother me, but I am a retro casual gamer. The scenes progress throughout the entire game. Then you get into the action, things get worse. You are directed down a path of performing useless, meaningless tasks. Like I said, there's a lot of side stuff, task like fetch quest, finding stuff, fixing stuff that is not in the game, in the book or the movie. Honestly, as weird as it sounds, it was almost reminiscent of like Tony Hawk Pro Skaters, of like or the Underground series of like, oh, to open this, you have to go up there and grind there, and like a bunch of just random, like, silly tasks, Then when you have completed those, you get to move on and perform more useless, meaningless tasks. The only word to describe this is brutal. It's just simply brutal. I didn't mind. Maybe I'm just easy to please. First of all, I would give this game, honestly, if you want to know my final rating, we'll continue talking about how it was rushed, I guess. I would give it, I'd say like a 7 out of 10. The RPG ones were better, except for Chamber of Secrets. I felt that game was kind of padded, and there's a lot of, it was too hard. It was way too hard. The bosses and shit, like you had to do a shit ton of grinding. Which even I'm grinding doesn't usually bother me, but even I was like, come on, bro. But I give it a 7 out of 10. Like, I enjoyed playing it. It was a weird final hurrah for the series to take, of more like a point and click mini games, and still RPG, but lacking, as far as the turn-based department, the RPG department, So he does agree with me on this point. When you are walking around Hogwarts, you can appreciate the amount of time they put in to make the castle as big as it is. But you are immediately resentful because you cannot go discover anything on your own. As soon as you deviate from the path, someone tells you you are going the wrong way and you have to stop and go the correct way. Just simply allowing people to go where they want would make this game score higher. That doesn't bother me because, like I said, you have a compass that sometimes wants to work and sometimes it doesn't. Like, that was frustrating when the arrow would just disappear. It's like, hey, game, I kind of needed that. The spell mini games are okay. They are good use of the touch screen because you draw the shape with your wand. I'm guessing he played on DS. So it's essentially kind of the same game, it sounds like. Let me see. Yeah. But the wizard's wand and hitting colored dots to make sure the spell works. However, the spells you cast during the duels are much better. You simply trace from line to line. Okay. So it's like a port, you know. If you're playing the Game Boy Advance version, you're obviously playing, hate to sound mean, but the shittier version, you know. The lessons are hit or miss. Others are terrible. Take History of Magic, for instance. If you knew nothing about Harry Potter, you could not do this one. You would fail every time. I actually do remember that. When you do History of Magic, it's like they just randomly ask you trivia questions of the movie or book. And I agree with them, man. Like, because I'm a fan of I've read all the books. I've watched all the movies multiple times. And there was still some that I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know that, you know? Potions is the best. It uses the microphone. He's talking the DS one, where you drag and drop the ingredients. On mine, you just gotta hit left or right. It'll pop up basically like, oh, put this many amount of flowers into it. Put this many amount of, I don't know, some mystical creature's horns in it. You gotta like hit it like super fast. You can't put too many, you can't put too less. And it's all on a time limit. So it is a little nerve-wracking, some of the games being on time limits and stuff. So if you're not someone who, if that is not the style of games that you like, is like time limit type stuff, you're probably not gonna like it. This is probably the best. Okay, I know it may be asking a lot to make a great game from a movie, but I think with Harry Potter it is achievable. There is so much more that could have been done with the spells, lessons, and games. The storyline should have been the easy part in the game since it was already written, but it was also a failure. I'm guessing he's talking about all the side stuff that's not canon, which this one, out of all the Harry Potters I've played, was the most that it went off the rails as far as like non-canon, was never in the movie, never in the game, you know what I mean? So also we have seen from other recent offerings, the DS, he's disappointed in the graphics. The game has a lot of good ideas, but none are complete. If there was just a little more time spent in the development, we would be singing a completely different tune. As of now, it is not worth even renting. So we were correct. Yeah, he gave it a 5 out of 10. So they did rush it. To time perfectly with the movie coming out. I guess we'll wrap it up there. I give it an 8 out of 10. The RPG parts were fun, but not as good as the other RPGs. The graphics, I do have to say, the graphics were fucking amazing for Game Boy Advanced. Impressive. The music, super fucking quiet. And I showed you guys how quiet it was. It's fucking weird. If you liked mini games and stuff of like the previous Harry Potters, pretty much this entire game is a gigantic collection of mini games and point and click. So 7 out of 10. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other Harry Potter game reviews if you like this style of podcasting. Also, I do have another podcast, Conspiracy Corner, which is the main one. So go check it out if you like conspiracy theories. But love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a good day.